my name is Jocelyn. I am a poet, and recently I realized that I think my story could help people. Actually, it's not really a recent realization. That was kind of an anchor that held me through the most traumatic things in my life. Was one day I'm going to help people with this perspective. One day the level of empathy that this has given me is going to be beneficial and make a difference and help the world. And I write, every single day, and I write things, but I never share them. And what will happen if I never share it, right? Then what happens to the meaning that I've created after transmuting all the pain and all the trauma into a sense of purpose? I've got to start living in that purpose. So all grace and all love for past Joss. She was just surviving, and I needed to cocoon for a while, and I needed to be unseen because I needed to do those things privately. I needed the space, and I needed to give myself permission to have that space. But I would say, I feel confident saying this, and I don't feel like I'm jinxing it because I feel so in tune with the universe. I have learnt those lessons, and I'm not repeating those patterns. And the more that I have been listening and trusting and having faith and making decisions that feel in alignment with my most authentic self, the more the universe continues to bless me and affirm that is alignment for me. So if you're here and if you're listening, thank you so much. Like I said, I felt like I wanted to share my story because what's the point, right? What am I overcoming this for? And if the meaning for me is that I want to be an example that you can survive. Not only can you survive, you can thrive. What's the point if I don't share that? So I've come to the bush with my 3 journals. This is a journal that I recently just finished. So I write every day. Like I said, I'm a poet. This is the journal that I'm currently writing in. Isn't she just gorgeous? Oh, stop it. And this is a journal that my friend Shannon gave to me. Bless, love you, Shannon. And recently I was like, I need a praise journal because I needed to self-praise and self-affirm and self-encourage. And I think there are things in here that I could speak over you, and I hope that they would praise, affirm and encourage you the way that they praise, affirmed and encouraged me. Sometimes I feel like I'm just a conduit. It's not my conception, it's not necessarily an active conscious process. It does sometimes just feel like I'm writing what was meant to be written, and I know that a lot of poets especially feel that way. Yes, I write a lot of observational things, I write a lot of emotional things, but sometimes I do just feel like I'm, being a conduit for what needs to be written and said. But what am I doing if I never share it, right? At the end of the day, the process of writing is so therapeutic for me. It is one of my strategies, and I love it dearly, and I would do it if I never shared it, which is why I do it every day, even though I've never been sharing it. But at the same time, I do think it's getting to the point where, because things have been so stable in my life and good for such a long period of time now, I feel like, I've just kind of built a bit of self-trust, and I kind of have felt this call to be sharing. And for a while I knew it was when I felt ready, I'm going to share. Once I've gotten out of this, I'm going to share. I've been out of it for enough time now and feeling quite stable and quite happy, and so I guess the first thing that I want to share will probably be a little bit about my background and about my story. So I am a poet, as I've said, but I didn't really know that. I say that. I kind of always knew that I was meant to be a writer, but I just kind of didn't think it was safe, classic, artists make no money mentality, limiting beliefs. When I was younger, I felt like I really needed to create stability for myself. Felt like I definitely did need to create stability, not just for myself, but for my younger brother who I was caring for. And then I decided I'd start studying psychology, because when I was younger I did want to be a psychologist too, but I didn't feel like I was smart enough, and I definitely didn't have the support around me to study, especially something that would be quite challenging to study. So it's interesting because I then, now decided I'm going to start studying it. But I say start, I'm actually almost finished my graduate diploma of psychology, so that's exciting. I have a stats assignment due, so maybe that's why I'm here. And then I'm just kind of over the last 6 years really lent into being a poet. So that's I guess where we're at now. I've just kind of grown through all this trauma and realized like I didn't deserve it, but also recognized that it was my inability to set good boundaries, and recognize what I deserve and expect what I deserve. So I had to learn, I had to grow, mistakes were made, I was operating at lower frequencies too, but I just feel very content with my life now despite all the tragedy and all the trauma. And that's not something I'm going to get into in this video, but I mean, I'd be happy to share my story, because I think the whole point is I want to be the example I didn't have. Quick little video just from me editing. I just wanted to say I'm very aware that this section of the video doesn't actually make a lot of sense. And there's a few reasons. Like, I had to edit out a lot of what I said just because I needed to keep some professional boundaries. But also, it was my first time recording a video in this format for this purpose. Like, of course it wasn't going to be perfect. I didn't prepare anything, like it was all off the cuff. But I think something that I just want to say is I talk in the video about basically that I'm aligning with my purpose, but what I don't explicitly say, but it's actually inextricably linked, is that part of my purpose and telling my story relates to my writing. And so that's why I've called the account The Poet Lioness. Like, it is my intention to share a lot of my writing on this account. I'm also going to be sharing it on other platforms, but that's something that I don't explicitly say. I also don't really explicitly tell you my story, even though I talk so much about that. But honestly, if I did that, the video would just be too long. Like, this was just kind of like a taster, even for me, just giving it a go. And the reason I decided to do it and post it in the end, I recorded a voice memo to myself on the way home after I did that video. And I just said to myself, like, you can't stop smiling. Like, that feeling of fulfillment, if you know what I'm talking about, if you do things that are aligned with your purpose, like, you can feel fulfilled from a lot of things, but when you do the thing that's on your heart, like the thing that you're scared to do, but you're meant to do it, the feeling of fulfillment you get when you actually take action and do something about it is unmatched. And that was the feeling I had after doing those videos, because there's more than one from this day. And I just kind of wanted to say, like, because I'm still going to post it, because it's the first one. Yes, it's a little bit chaotic and unplanned, but that's me. Like, I'm very spontaneous, I can be a bit chaotic, PTSD things, right? And so I just feel like it's really important that I just say, like, I know that I didn't really talk much about my story, but I will. I didn't really get into it because I didn't want to trauma dump, and also because it's a little bit like this, like when you're getting to know someone, like, I guess in this way, like getting to know you as my audience, you're getting to know me, like, you don't come out with everything and put everything on the table straight away as well. So I'm kind of alluding to things, but I realize, like, if this is your first time seeing me, you're going to be thinking, okay, she's talking like she's been through all this trauma and all this stuff, but she hasn't really said much about that. Like, I don't really know. But just to kind of succinctly cover it, I have been through a lot of trauma. I've experienced, in my childhood, I experienced every form of abuse. And then as an adult, that primed and conditioned me to end up in really toxic relationships that were quite abusive as well. And I think I'll just leave it there for now. I think that's enough. I think, at the end of the day, like, if you know, you know. If you get it, you get it. I have complex PTSD from my childhood, and that's continuing to affect me, and it gets re-triggered every time I go through something like really traumatic, and it also kind of kept me in situations, and that's a big part of the reason why I want to share my story, is because I needed to hear what I now know. If I could go back and tell myself in my 20s everything I know now, like how much sooner would I have got out of it? And admittedly, like you have to grow through what you go through. Like I had to go through those things to learn those lessons and become this version of myself. So like all grace, like all love, like I love who I am, so it's okay, it's all worked out. But at the same time, like I just feel like, I just feel called to do it. So that's just a little bit more context than what I gave in the video, and I hope that helps. Okay, bye. Growing up, I didn't really know anyone who had kind of gone through what I had gone through and come out the other side with their sensitivity still intact, with joy as a baseline. I wanted to retain who I was as a child, like my personality. I didn't want all that trauma and tragedy to corrupt that. And so I guess, that's the crux of it, is I'm recording this and sharing my perspectives because I want to be that example that you can overcome it, and you don't have to harden. Oh, hi, there's a little sparrow. You don't have to harden. You don't have to lose that sensitivity or dull it down. You don't have to sacrifice your soul and who you came here to be. It's not going to be easy. It's hard. It's really, really hard, but sorry, I'm really distracted by this beautiful sparrow. And if like my tripod wasn't so hard to set up, I would flip it and show you. You can hear, it's so beautiful. But honestly, then we're gonna be here for like 10 minutes, me trying to get this set back up. Highly recommend just going to the bush. Oh my gosh, come here, yes. Well, that's kind of the crux of it. I just want to, I guess, be that person that I needed when I was younger. Be the woman that I needed when I was younger. So if anything that I've said, or if what I've said has resonated for you and you like this vibe, please subscribe. I can't believe I'm doing this. What is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with me. I'm just stepping into my purpose, and I have a fear of being seen. So that's the other thing too. Fear of being seen is like a twig cracks. That's the other thing too. I have to overcome this fear of being seen, to answer the call that's on my life. And so I'm just diving in the deep end, because I don't know, how else do you overcome a fear of being seen without that exposure therapy? And if I'm gonna do it, I might as well do it in alignment with who I am. So, you might be watching this and thinking, oh my gosh, yes, I would love to be doing that too, but I'm afraid. Let me tell you, I am terrified. I will be more terrified when I edit and post this. To be honest, there are so many things like this that exist on my camera roll. Not exactly like this, but so many times where I've like been talking as if I was going to share it, and I never did. So I'm gonna hold myself accountable here and share this. Anyway, I'm over explaining, so I think that can maybe exist on its own. I think that's enough. I'm just being so true to myself, my most authentic self, and knowing that this will find who it's meant to find. Like I don't have to control that. I just have to be obedient to the call and the things that I feel the universe nudging me to do, and in doing so, the universe will bless, because that's the intention. I want to help and bless. So I hope that makes sense. I'm doing this for myself too, like obviously I want to be helping, but it helps me because it allows me to manifest that meaning that helped me get through. And I do have a feeling that the more I lean into this and the better I get with it, the more fulfilling everything is going to feel. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, yes. I just can see how this call won't go away. It has never gone away. So I just need to obey. And I just know when I obey, the universe blesses, and not just me, but people around me too. You know, when I am shining, others shine too, that kind of thing. Literally shining. Okay, well, if you listen to my nice long ramble, thank you so much. Like I said, please like, subscribe, comment, let me know your story, let me know what resonated with you. You know, obviously I want to get to know the people that find this, because it will help me to know what you need to hear. How, you know, what is it that intrigues you and piques your interest. I'm not going into this with like, I have some idea of where I want this to head, and I've kind of articulated some of that, but I'm not attached to a certain message. I don't have like a brand strategy in mind. I'm just going to show up as myself, and I think it will unveil itself as we go along. I definitely think the poetry is part of that though. So, oh, should we read one? Let's read one. Let's read the one that I wrote this morning, which I was like, yes, this was definitely me being a conduit. The first line came to me and I was like, this is juicy. I made myself a marcher and I just like cuddled into my sheets and wrote it out. It's a first draft with some minor, like, can you even see that with the sun? Jeez Louise. Let me, yes. Inside, oh, the other page. Not safe for work. Let's do that again. Yes. Okay. Lol. Sound of a, I don't know if you can hear that. On the other side there's like a, like where I am in the bush there's like a river, and then on the other side there's like a main highway. I'm just gonna turn down the brightness because again I am just glaringly bright. This is gorgeous weather. Okay. Nothing more sacred than a woman who knows her worth lies in the sanctity of her soul. Nothing more powerful than a woman unashamed. She cannot be bought, manipulated, nor tamed. Nothing more divine than a woman who creates a powerful force of nature in her surrender. Nothing more beautiful than a woman becoming. She follows the path of least resistance with grace. Nothing more radical than a woman who rests. She is faithful in the universe and its generous provision. Nothing more transformative than a woman on purpose. She changes lives when she is in alignment. Nothing more holy than a woman who slows and listens. She hears the call within her beating chest when she is grounded. Nothing more transcendent than a woman who feels. She transmutes with her emotionally expressive freedom. Nothing more heavenly than a woman who accepts. She sees reality and chooses to respond rather than being reactive. Nothing more mystical than a woman who envisions. She co-creates new worlds with her cosmic giftings. Nothing more angelic than a woman who knows all she ever needs lies within. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being here.